Hi, I'm Dr. Liz Cruz, and I am here to talk to you about step 1 in our 4-step system. Stop guessing and start testing. So, you got it. I am going to talk to you about tests because the traditional medical tests that we order are pretty much not cutting it. Okay, so very early on in our journey, we realized that we needed to find something different that was really going to help us identify the cause of what's going on with our patients and our clients as far as their digestive issues. So if you go to a traditional medical doctor's office, such as me, there's going to be tests that are going to be ordered, okay? And I still order these traditional tests on my patients. And typically you'll go to a lab, it could be LabCorp, Sonora Quest. There may be some other traditional labs throughout the country that I'm not naming, but you'll go and get the traditional blood tests done. The problem is that these blood tests don't really get down to the core cause of what's causing digestive issues. So Tina and I, on our journey, found some tests that we thought, after looking at several different tests, we boiled it down to a few tests that we realized were the tests that we needed to have available for our patients, for our clients, that would help us be able to pinpoint the cause, get down to figuring out the real cause of digestive issues. Now, one thing is that if you go or have gone to a naturopathic office, it's very possible that you may have heard or maybe even done some of these tests, because the tests that we do are tests that are more traditional to a natural practice, a naturopathic practice. All right, so there's 4 tests that we offer in our program, in our system, our 4-step system. The first one, and probably our most popular one, is a food sensitivity test, which is a blood spot test. So basically it's like a little prick of the finger, and then you're putting blood on a little paper-like sheet that is then going to be sent off to the lab. And off of that, it's pretty amazing, because off of that, they're going to test your blood against 144 different foods. And the beauty of this test is that it's actually going to test at the more cellular tissue level, okay, which is where we're really going to find answers, okay? And it's going to be testing for sensitivities. The food allergy tests that are traditionally run like in an allergist office, or even in my practice early on, I used to order these blood tests, but they're typically not looking at the tissue cellular level, all right? And they are going to pick up certain allergies, but they're usually more of environmental type allergies that are going to be picked up. This food sensitivity test is going to look at the cellular tissue level, which is where we need to be looking to really pick up the sensitivities that are causing you digestive issues. Okay, so that's test number 1. Test number 2 is a test that is going to look at the intestinal permeability. What does that mean? So, have you ever heard of leaky gut? So leaky gut is not a term that I learned in medical school, all right? That is not a term that is learned in the traditionally trained medical schools, where you go and get your MD. That's actually more of a naturopathic, holistic term. However, I love it. And actually, it's something that we did learn in medical school as far as, the gut, and learning about the fact that you can have little microscopic tears. It just wasn't termed as leaky gut. But this intestinal permeability test, which is a simple urine test, is a test that's going to look to determine if you have a leaky gut, okay, which are little microscopic tears. These little microscopic tears in the small intestine typically are the ones where now, because of those tears, it allows for bugs, viruses, bacteria, any little microorganism, toxins that come in from anything that you ingest that come in, that now will go through these microscopic tears into the bloodstream and cause problems, cause inflammation, cause disease. And so this is a very important test because it definitely helps to determine if you're suffering, if you have a leaky gut that's leading you to develop this inflammation that can be anywhere in your body. All right, so that's test number 2, the intestinal permeability. Test number 3 is a microbiome test that is a stool test to look for pathogens. That could be viruses, it could be bacteria, it could be parasites. And you're probably thinking, well, I can just get a stool test done at my doctor's office. And yes, that's very true, because as a gastroenterologist, I do order stool tests. And again, those stool tests that are run at the traditional lab are going to look for bacteria and parasites. However, they're not going to look to the extent that this special microbiome test is looking. This is actually looking much deeper, okay? Because there are so many microorganisms that are out there that can be causing havoc in your intestine that you're not even aware of, okay? And most of these stool studies that we get in the traditional MD office, like in my office, most of them typically come back negative. All right, and I've had patients that have done the traditional stool test, and then we've done this microbiome test where it shows up all these pathogens that weren't even picked up on the traditional stool test. So this is going to really help us, because it's going to help us to know where the issue is as far as the bacteria. And again, the bacteria in the intestine is so important. It's so important to keep a very healthy balance, to keep a good balance of good bacteria in your intestine, because it's so important for your immune system. I mean, 80% of your immune system is in your intestine. All right, so that's the third test. It's a microbiome test, a stool study. And then the last test, which is a blood test, is a study to look for cellular micronutrient deficiencies, okay, which is very important, because you may be eating what you think is a great diet, but you may not be getting the nutrients that you need. And how will you know if you don't test for it, okay? And I tell you, it's a big issue, because again, you could be eating what you think is a very healthy diet. However, you've got to remember that the soil that vegetables and fruit are grown in these days is not the same soil from 50 years ago. And so even though you may be eating an organic diet, all right, you may still not be getting all the nutrients that you need. And the problem with that is that without the nutrients, it's really hard for your body to do what it needs to do to heal, okay? Because your body needs these nutrients to keep you healthy, to heal. And that's what your body is doing for you all the time. So this test is going to help us determine what are these nutrients that you are deficient in, that we need to make sure that you're getting to help keep your body healthy and to help your body to heal itself. Thank you so much for listening.